episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. How are you doing? We hope you're great. Hi, I'm Raven. I'm one of the hosts.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark, and I'm the other host.
Bada boom, bada bing. That's called an intro. We did it. Wow.
Yeah. Sure did.
2 weeks off, and I didn't do terrible.
Didn't miss a beat.
Who is she? She's Miss America. What's up, man?
There she is. No, not much. You know, I can tell it's the end of the year, and I'm ready for my vacation to start, and I am just I feel like a zombie, dude. Like, I swear to God.
Dude,
Just
yeah.
some days I'm just like walking around the house and I'm like, oh, what do I do? Like, I could go and do something and be productive. Nope, that's no fun. What can I do?
Right. Well, I can imagine, especially
So,
your busy schedule with your busy little kids.
well, it's weird. It's like one of them things where you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, no, I could be doing something. I could be busy and productive and things, and you're just not. That was pretty much me yesterday. I was like, I should be busy doing something. Nope, gotta take a nap.
It's called a mental health day, Mark. And sometimes it's okay. You know, it's important to
I
take a
know.
nap every now and then. I did one today. It was great.
You did one right before the podcast,
Yeah, I needed one. I was Big Eep.
and I am like, how are you gonna sleep tonight?
Beautifully. Who knows?
Word.
It's definitely been an interesting weekend. So I was like, yeah, I probably need this. We took the little boys to the vet yesterday to get their updated shots. And Boo went first, and he's 17 and a half, so he's been getting these shots for a hot minute. Well, during the middle of Mudside's shots, Boo started having an allergic reaction to one of the vaccinations, which caused, a whole lot of stuff going on. So we then, the vet had to try and give him like a few different things. And she was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and recommend you guys probably take him to the emergency vet. And then they can like check in on like other things and keep a watch of him and stuff. So yeah, 2.5 hours later and almost $1,000
Jesus
in vet
Christ.
bills. Old homie got to come home yesterday after having such a rough day. But he's so much better. He's just sitting on the couch looking at me right now, just like, what's up? What are you doing, Mom? Yeah. So now next year we'll have to have like the big conversation of like, does my dog really need all of his shots? He's so old. He's such a little
Yeah.
geriatric in his little diapers. He's such a good boy.
Mm.
Yeah, that happens. And luckily, everything, our vet was like so nice. And I feel like any of the other vets, like, that are currently there, I don't know. The vet that we really liked and is the reason that we ended up staying there, she ended up moving a few months ago. And so I think they're having like staffing issues with it, just trying to get someone that can, be there. So they've got like
Mm-hmm.
two people that like just they come on like I think the weekends and maybe throughout the weekdays some. But the like lady that we had yesterday, me and like one of my coworkers, we both love her. She's so nice and she's definitely super knowledgeable. And she definitely like wants to talk things over with you and like that's so nice cuz like the other guy, I was like the first time we dealt with him, he was like doing something for Boo and I was like I fucking hate this guy. He's a prick. And so yeah. So I was very thankful that we had the vet yesterday that we did to be like everything's going to be chill. Sorry about all that. And then after we left, uh and had it had been like a while. She like called and was like, "Hey, how's he doing?" And we're like, "Oh, he's doing okay. He's definitely feeling much better." And the emergency vet like sent us some stuff home to take and give him. And she was like, "Okay, that sounds good. I'm really sorry about like all that happened and blah blah blah." And she was like, "I just wanted to ask you. I meant to talk to you guys about heartworm prevention and stuff because the people that came in right after you were like, blah 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 blah. Yeah, get our dog on heartworm, blah blah blah." And she was like, "Oh crap, I forgot to ask them because it was so crazy." And I was like, "Thank you," because I also meant for us to talk about getting like a refill for them, but it was so crazy. So thank God for good vets, people you like and trust. That's
Yeah,
yeah, that's what's been up in my world this weekend.
dude, it's been crazy here because we got Alice has still been going nonstop with her drama stuff. Which shout out to them, they won the state
Whoop
competition
whoop.
last night. She
Nice.
didn't get home till 1:30 in the morning.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, it it was a big day. Them kids are doing great. I guess this means we have to buy another state championship ring again.
I,
Um, but
oh, I hate when my kids are successful and doing cool things.
right, it's such a
Ugh.
double edged sword, dude. Like I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of all of her friends and everything. But at the same time, I'm like, Jesus, man, I don't want to have to buy another ring because those things are really expensive. On top of like all the theater dues and everything else, like I'm seriously, if I was in charge, I was in charge. Schools like kids in the arts would not have to pay for anything. Yeah, there, I said it.
Oh,
Controversial hot
he's
take.
so controversial. Someone come get him quick. You have to stop him.
Yeah. So,
That's fair though. I feel you.
but yeah, you know, just normal stuff, man. I'm winding down. I'm ready. I'm taking all not next week, but Thanksgiving week off.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
That'll be
So
nice.
so all right. So I want to talk about some trailers because I guess D23 in Brazil was uh was this past weekend or happened in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. All my days are running together, and they released a few new trailers for the new Captain America and the new Thunderbolts, and I sent them to you, and you looked at them. I know you. I know we just checked them out, but I I'm starting to really have a problem with these Marvel
Oh
movies,
no.
and I saw both of them, and with the exception of like Red Hulk in the Captain America movie, I'm just like, I don't even care.
Oof.
I'm, which is such a wild thing for me to say,
Wow. Who are
and
you?
I have a feeling that the Red Hulk is only going to be like 5 minutes of that whole movie, and that movie is going to be 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. Who's playing? Did they have who's playing the Red Hulk?
Oh, none other than Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay. Of course. That poor man.
So the man who notoriously hates franchises, who is now I presumably, unless they kill off the character, is is done signed up to be part of the MCU, which means that he's going to be around at least for another 10 years.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This poor man.
So
Let him go.
when I think all he wants to do is just sit in his house with Callista Flockhart and smoke weed. So
I think he's earned it at this point. So,
I think so too. I don't necessarily think he has to work.
right? Right?
I mean, uh he's in two hugely successful franchises in Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and some other like classic ones that it's just like,
Yeah.
royalty checks, man. Come on.
This man is 82. Let him rest. Jesus. I love him.
I mean, he's a good looking Navy too.
He really is, honestly. God. God bless.
So yeah, dude. Like, I don't even know. Like, it seems like ever since this new wave of Marvel movies post Endgame is just, I don't know. There's like a weird combination of like they kept pumping them out, pumping them out, pumping them out, and I'm like, you know. And then and now that they're kind of letting them breathe, it's like, all right, I guess, man. Like, we really need like a 5 year break of nothing, you know?
Yeah, especially because, like, they pop out new shows and, like, new seasons of things constantly. You don't really get, like, a genuine break nowadays. It's just like Disney's like, let's go. We've got to keep producing. They're gonna fall off. They're not gonna fall off. Give them, like, a little air. Stop pummeling them to death with all your Marvel shows,
And
movies.
I feel like the one exception to this, and it might be because it was its own thing, unrelated to everything else, and that was Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah,
Deadpool Wolverine. Whatever. It's no, like it had things from other Marvel movies, but it wasn't depending on that.
exactly. Yeah,
You know, you didn't have to watch the last 15 years of Marvel movies to get it. Um and it was a very good story and all these other things, and now it just seems like all the TV shows and all the mainline MCU movies, they're just feeding into the next thing.
yeah.
And yeah.
And that's a lot because, like, not everyone has time to, like, watch however many freaking shows they've made at this point. I don't even know.
Right.
Like, there's so much
Right.
stuff that goes on. And then, like, imagine having to be like, well, I guess I'm gonna sit down and watch however many freaking movies have come out so I can try and piece together everything and understand the lore. Like, I can't imagine being like a kid nowadays and being like, whoa, I have so much to catch up to. It's like me watching One Piece. Am I ever going to catch up?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who knows? Oh, God. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
So, changing gears, I came across this this TikTok is infected my brain. Um,
Nice.
it is. You're a big Bob's Burgers fan.
Absolutely.
Have you? I was treated because I didn't know how to look this up. Um, and I typed in Bob Burgers butt songs and actually
So
came
many.
up with like three different
Yep.
things. It was incredible. I think I got sold on that show in that moment. It was like, all of these are bangers. I have to watch the show now, and I didn't realize the show's like almost 15 years old.
Yeah.
So
Dude, I was watching it in high school. I love it. It's literally like I think it is my favorite show because I'm trying to be like, what else shows have I like kept up with in like so long? But it's like it's still going and it's still funny and I still love characters and there's it's just got such like uh a good vibe to it and people that like genuinely enjoy it. Like its fan base is all like really chill and I love it.
that's
Chef
cool.
kiss. Absolutely. I think you should watch it. You could even let like Alice watch it with you. And it's got some good comedy, but it's got some good little like meaningful moments and all that stuff. When you do watch it,
All
you have to
right.
let me know that you have started it though.
Uh,
I've literally
okay.
up until like maybe I have yet to watch I think I've watched like the first two episodes of the new season, but maybe like season 14 and 13 excluded just because I haven't had as much time to go back to them. I've seen like every single episode of Bob's Burgers, definitely more than like a handful of times. Like it's insane. It was like my comfort show and I would just put it on and just watch it constantly. So, definitely a big lover over here. But yeah,
Cool. Did you ever watch Archer? Done by the same dude?
Chris definitely watched Archer. I have watched some of Archer. And it's pretty good.
Okay.
Are you looking into that one as well?
Well, it's done by the same dude, so it might be one of the things I just go on a big old downloading binge and just watch everything.
Might as well.
So,
Yeah, Archer's just like a different, like it's funny, but it's a different style of like different things. You should definitely talk to Chris about it because he really liked it. And when we first started dating, he would try and get me to watch it. And I was like, okay. But Chris tries to get me to watch a lot of things, so literally constantly. He's like, hey, we should watch this. And I'm like, when? When do we have time for this? How many shows do you see me watching? Too many. And I'm watching One Piece. So I don't have time for anything. Don't give me new shows. Thank you. But then I go and find new shows.
what about all right? All right. So,
Oh,
this
God.
is a perfect segue into the next thing because listen, I came across some information. How do you feel about older shows? How do you feel about older movies in particular? And when I say older movies, I mean movies that are now 24 years old.
I like stuff like that.
Because guess what just landed on Netflix this week?
Oh, God. What?
The Fast and Furious franchise.
God damn it. Ah, they're listening to the podcast. They know what the people
Uh,
want.
man, listen, I found this out and I immediately was just like, I guess I'm watching Fast and Furious 6 this weekend.
Nice.
It's.
That's so
I,
funny that they're just like, here we go. Have
you
all
know,
this.
I love the fact that, and I think we're going to talk about this more like when we kind of do our year end wrap up, is that out of the two like big franchises that we've done this year on the podcast, that they are both like kind of a part of our like kind of zeitgeist now. Like you had never seen the Fast and Furious movies, and now that's such a I can make jokes about that and send you memes and stuff, and we both laugh. And it's the same thing with Twilight. Like I get all the weird references about,
Yeah.
and a funny thing is I think it was yesterday maybe on my Facebook memories from like 11, 12 years ago or something. It was like, hey, here's what happened on this day. And in my post said, for those of y'all that went and watched the Twilight movie last night, uh, how did they portray the the pedawolf the pedawolf falling in love with an infant, and did they show the scars from where the vampire bit the baby, in all caps, bit the baby out of her womb? And it was, yeah. So
Uh, well, now you know the answer.
and now I know the answer to that. So
I think I told you it was like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I had like requested on the like library app that I have to quote unquote borrow uh the first Twilight book. And so I finally got to it. It was like 10 weeks later. And we had definitely already finished all of the movies, but the book is so drastically different from the movie, and it's insane to me. Like, I read this book in like seventh grade, and I'm like, how the hell did my mom let me read this? One, and I was reading it at school, at a private
that's
Christian
wild.
school. And it's so funny because I was like, this book is wild. Like, there's so many differences between the book and the movie, even in like scenes that you're so used to. Like in the book, Jacob is not just like her bestie. Uh, like he literally doesn't come in until like they're at, I think, the beach at La Push, and she's just like, "Oh hey, I'm I'm Bella. And he's like, hey, I'm Jacob. And they like are just like, what's going on? And she's trying to like flirt with him, even though he's like 16 and she's like 17, or maybe he's like 15. I don't remember. But like, try and be like, I have to get information out of this boy so I can find out about why Edward's family is not allowed to come to La Push. And she's like trying to flirt with him and stuff. And I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, it's weird.
It was insane. Anyways, definitely going to read the other books though, because I'm
Yeah.
like,
So did you
ugh.
did you agree with my initial statement of, the side characters are so much more interesting, especially in that first book because you get like Alice's backstory,
Right?
and
You do
and
get
I
a
was
lot
like,
of like backstories because like Chris would ask me, and I was like, I don't remember if it's in the movie. And I definitely had watched the movies so much growing up. So it's like, I don't know, like what information did get put in there from the book versus, well, the movie also just like did its own random shit some. But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
oh,
How do you feel about the side characters? Well, let me go in on this little tangent real quick.
no, you answered my question. How do you feel about the side characters? The side characters are great.
Yeah, they've got some like fun little backgrounds of their own that I wish I'd gotten more into it, but that's how it be in sappy love teenage stories. Mm.
All right,
Also, I
are
feel
you?
like I'm sorry, the movie
No, no.
definitely makes it feel like it takes so much longer for their whole love affair, but like the book is insane and it's like, hey, this is like 2 seconds long and you guys are already, I love you. I can't live without you. Oh my God. Anyways, we can
Yeah.
talk about this movie.
Okay.
I
All right.
just love
Yeah. Let's
Twilight
move
so
from one
much.
franchise. Let's move on to a new movie. This week's movie. Um. None other. This was actually Chris's suggestion. It was a good suggestion, actually. How do we bridge the gap between Halloween and Thanksgiving? Well, luckily, Eli Roth made a movie called Thanksgiving. It's a horror Thanksgiving movie, which I think it's the first of its kind.
Excuse me, we watched Thanksgiving.
We did watch Thanksgiving.
Don't you ever disrespect a turkey that's over there being like, nice tits, bitch.
The
Iconic.
Juggalo classic. So,
Mark, do you want to
yes,
go first? Do you want to tell the people what you think
yes,
about Thanksgiving?
absolutely, absolutely. I am I I am all about this movie. Um, this is an absolute fantastic horror slasher movie that I will consider like a new classic. It I have not had this much fun watching a horror movie in a long time, and uh, I feel like I haven't had this much fun or have enjoyed watching a horror movie since the first time I watched Scream, way back in the day.
Oh,
Um, it has all the tropes. It has all the fun. Um, it has everything. I was all about it. I laughed. I was shocked at the twist. It was great. I was knee deep in this movie. Raven, what did you think of Thanksgiving?
I definitely agree with you. This movie was wild. It had some great kills in it. There was a lot of really good like insanity that was just going on. That basically that whole beginning bit where they're like going buck wild at the store. I was like, this is giving me anxiety just thinking about like, ooh, if I was ever in this situation, you bet my ass would absolutely quit. I'm not dealing with like crazy ass crowd like this. Insane. The characters, some of them were shitty, like pieces of actual shit. And when you see them get murdered, you're like, heck yeah, honestly. But like We were gonna go watch this movie in the theater last year, but I ended up like getting sick before we were gonna go. And I'm really disappointed that I didn't get to watch this in the theater. It's so good. So let's go ahead and like break this shit down.
Yeah, let's get busy. First off, did you ever see the original trailer for this that was in Quentin Tarantino and Eli Roth's Grindhouse
Yes.
movies? Okay, so the that was what 14, 15 years ago now, and I think it was the last time we recorded. I talked about the podcast slash radio show that I listened to. It was based out of Los Angeles that I listened to every day for so long. Whatever, whatever. Um, when this movie or when Grindhouse came out, they had Eli Roth in to talk about whatever like his next movie was gonna be. Um, and they were like, "Hey, listen, when are you gonna do um Thanksgiving?" And he was like, "Oh, like I'll get to it. Like that's a good one." And then like uh what was it, Death Wish, or was it Death Wish? I think maybe Hostel Part 2. And every time they brought him in for every little thing, it was like, "When are you gonna do Thanksgiving?" And they pestered this man for years and years and years. And then I find it like sweet irony that, the show disbands or whatever. And a couple of years later, it's like, "Yes, Thanksgiving. Now I can do it."
Yeah.
So, uh, the intro scene where everyone is at the Walmart, right Mart. Uh, I think it's wild that it was like 1,000 Peter Griffins just all up there. Uh,
So true.
just
Dude,
that accent was killing me.
yeah, Chris and I were like absolutely losing it because like some people were like totally normal and then you just get like this accent that you're just like, what? Where am I? What is this weird little like melting pot? And it's just good old Plymouth, Massachusetts. But dude, insanity. There's so much insanity going on at that store. Why are those kids going in first and then being like, "Hey, fuck you" to all the people out there that are literally like they look like savages. They're
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
going insane. Little Tasmanian devils over there like, "We got to rush in." And people die and it's like I know that like back in the day Black Friday used to be like a lot more insane, but then once, Amazon and buying things online started happening, for some people, it was just like, oh, we don't have to go out. So I never had to deal with like any super extreme chaos going on in like Black Friday shopping. But I remember like hearing some of my family talk about it, and I was like, why do you people go out? That sounds awful. You're going out freaking Thursday at like midnight to go buy what? Some silly little Bratz dolls and maybe a tiny TV for your kid's room? No, it was insane.
Listen, let me tell you something. Uh,
Lay it
See,
down.
back in the day, I went out. I went to a Black Friday thing one time, um, and I got there at 7 or 8 o'clock, uh, for a midnight opening, because I was like, I want to get some TVs or a TV, because this is back when the deals used to actually be like really good, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and I get there, and there's already 30 people in line, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe they're not all here for TVs, whatever. Um, and about 11 o'clock, 11:30, someone comes out and they're like, okay, we're passing out tickets for the TVs and stuff. And they were passing out these things, and they only had like 15 tickets to give out, you
What?
know? So basically, they were like, "Oh, well, if you don't want a TV, we have these other deals, and you can get this thing." And I'm like, "No, everyone's here for like this dumb TV that is literally half price, like a $1,500 TV that is now $500 or whatever. That's what we're all here for."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh no, we only got 15 of those," and
That's
basically,
insane.
I was like, "Well, I'm going home." Never
Right?
made it inside.
Dang.
So,
Probably for the best. They over there like fighting for those tickets.
dude,
Maybe someone got punched in the eye. You never know.
Walmart used to be like the way this movie was. I mean, you can see footage of like people getting in fights and stuff over toasters. Like,
Right?
I mean, I know the movie kind of did this in like a heightened thing, but it wasn't too far from the truth. Like, I've definitely, especially around here in Georgia, I've definitely heard people were like, "Oh no, 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 you can have this TV. I'll see you later. I know where you live." And I'm like, "Oh damn!" Like, it is
Oh,
not that serious, people.
right?
So,
That's insane. No, thank you.
uh, um,
Uh, During that whole like beginning fiasco, I definitely got sucked in, and I was like, how do I even take notes on this right now?
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So,
Some woman got scalped. Some guy got
y-
crushed by a door. Uh, Kid got his whole hand broken, ruining his baseball career. Like that shit was insane.
I still can't understand how or why them kids were like, "Yo, I need a phone.
Right?
Let me go in here exactly at this time to just pick up a phone. It'll be real quick." No, it
Right?
won't.
No. Anything you do Black Friday related shopping is never going to be quick. Let's be real, unless you're sitting on your couch and just being like, thank you, Amazon Prime. This is
Right.
all I needed. You go out there, traffic is terrible. The the people are chaotic. The workers are over it by the like first hour. It's insane. Also, do you really need a phone? Because that motherfucker was like, how am I supposed to text during the movie if I don't have a phone?
Right.
Screw you. That's why you deserve to die in the beginning. Anyways,
And I put in here right after he said that. I was like, "These kids are assholes. They will all die."
right? Man, we were so close. The
And I
video that he made too, and then it like he was like, I didn't post it, but it I'm sorry, but the wording that he put on there was no waffles for this bitch. Rip to the victims, and then it was like and subscribe. Beer, 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 beer.
yeah. It wasn't me,
Sure.
babe. It wasn't me.
Right.
I was like you. I got completely caught up in the first like however long. I completely forgot that this was all pre credits, like pre title card.
Right.
Because after like everything happens is like Thanksgiving. I'm like, holy shit, that was the best.
They started out
So,
strong, and they were doing it right.
and I never could in once like things started getting into the horror movie of it all, quote unquote. Uh, I don't understand why the kids were were tagged as like, "Oh man, it's your fault. Like I'm gonna get revenge on you." Like, yeah, they're dumb kids, but they didn't have anything to do with anything that happened.
And
You
them little
know?
shit shouldn't have been in that store, egging on all the other people outside that wanted that uh waffle maker.
Yeah.
It's all their fault.
I felt like that was kind of like as weak and flimsy as why in in the menu when Ralph Fiennes was like, "Oh yeah, and you were in a shitty movie that I watched on my one day off I had, so therefore you gotta die." And he's like, "What the fuck?"
Right?
Like
That was a good one.
it's the same kind of flimsy logic.
Oh yeah. But hey, people do that kind of shit though, where they're like, I've gone absolutely off the deep end because one singular incident has absolutely just fucked with my head, and now I'm the victim, and I gotta make you fucking pay. Dude,
Okay.
it definitely happens. And like true crime podcasts where I'm like, they literally did what? And you're over here trying to like assassinate them? Insanity.
All right.
But
I want
I
to. I want
agree.
to talk
It's insane.
about. I want to talk about the point in this movie where I got completely turned around on everything, where it went from just like okay, like I'm kind of digging it, to the point where I had to stop everything because I was laughing so hard because it was so great. Like that kind of just I'm having a good time laugh. Um, when when the killer when the killer kills that bitchy waitress in the diner. Um, I have a couple notes on this scene. One, she's getting ready to close up. Why in the world is there an absolute full sink of water with dishes in it when you are getting ready to close up this diner, ma'am?
Right?
And it's all
Anyone
it's it,
that's worked kitchen is like, if that shit ain't soaking, I swear to God.
and that's a common trope in everything where they're like, yes, we conveniently have this sink full of water when there should not be any water in there.
Oh, yeah.
Second of all, once the killer takes this lady and she escapes and she goes into the manager's office, right? And she's trying to unlock her phone, but she can't because her fingers are all messed up, right? Um, and and clearly she can't call for help. And then she looks over at the security camera, and what's right next to the TV but a fucking phone?
I
I
didn't
was
even notice it.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the kind of thing. Listen, Eli Roth, I love you. I love this movie. All right. But this was such an egregious thing where, like, I don't know, man. It would have been worth whatever money to digitally remove it. It was such a
No,
thing in my
no.
brain.
I think now that I know about it, I love it even more. Because it's just like, it's just like insane enough that it probably could happen where they're like, my iPhone, I can't use it. Okay, I think I can go outside now.
Right. Oh my god. And then this is the point that turned everything around for me, where I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Um, was when the car is chasing her through the parking lot. She hops in the dumpster, and the dumpster lid cuts her in half.
Man,
I just guffawed, laughed so hard that I had to pause the movie because it was the most ridiculous thing. I was like, I'm on board. Whatever nonsense is after this, I am okay with it. Let's do it.
yeah,
It yeah.
that's a rough kill. Just to be like, oh, look at this. Dude, the kills in this movie were insanity, and I'm here for it. I need more movies to put like these over the top kills in movies because it's just like so absurd and hilarious to watch. Because the way that her buddy like cut in half, and then the next morning when they're literally like in the trash in the big dumpster picking up like pieces of her intestines, and it literally just looks like they just picked up a sausage.
Right.
Uh,
And then we get to the security dude who I love this so much. They hit him with that electric knife, that electric carving knife.
man,
Uh, I'm, I was on board with it. And then the
yeah,
dude takes the time to like feed the cat before he leaves. Absolutely no notes. I mean,
yeah. He knew what it was about. I love that he was like, "Oh, here you go," and then gave it some little scritches, and then just I'm out with your dad's head. And I looked at Chris and I was like, "It's really nice of him," even though that cat's probably going to eat the owner because that's very common. That like if people die in their houses and they have cats, their cats will eat them.
Yeah.
It's real messed up. You did forget one very important factor that was in between those two kills, but it's when someone asked the kid why his name is Scuba, because they kept calling him that, and I was like, what is this nickname? I hate it. Then he's like, what's your last name? Diving? What's your first name? I don't even remember what it was. He was like, yeah, both of those are awful.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fair enough.
No, that's how you get
Yeah,
nicknames, man.
apparently. Sorry, I
So
didn't have a good enough anything to make a good nickname. Sucks.
no, usually it's you mess up with something, and then they're
Oh, of
like,
course.
oh yeah, your name is Toe now because you stubbed your toe on a thing, and you know.
We've definitely been calling Chris one specific nickname and he hates it, but we only call it to him in Discord. Or else I call it to him when we're just like doing stuff and then he's just like, hey,
Oh, so
I'll
you're gonna
tell
have to
it to you
text that to me
later.
now. Yeah,
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
absolutely.
I gotcha. Don't worry.
Um, let's see. I loved there's one thing because I'm just kind of going through my notes here, and I don't want to skip this. The Before we get to the slasher in the school situation, when we flash to the school, and it just picks up on the scene with the kid going, and that's why or I won't be celebrating Thanksgiving this year or any year. And he slams it down, and the two girls are just clapping their hands and just fawning over him, like, oh, this is great. This is so fantastic. It was love this movie.
Good old Chad. God
Um,
bless him. And his little washboard abs
right.
that they were like, whoa. That's
And
pretty
then
good.
and then we get the trampoline scene,
Oh my God.
which I was
Oof.
curious if we were gonna get it, and I'm so happy we got it. I wasn't sure of how much from the original trailer they were gonna put in there, but I am legitimately thrilled that we got the trampoline scene, and at the same time, I'm kind of glad they didn't go the route of her doing a split on a knife.
Oh my God. Oh. I think I would have died. I would have died internally if I had watched that. That was another really good kill. And like Chris and I the whole time we were watching it, because the first one was like her Achilles. And I was like, oh no. And then she just kept falling. And I just kept like actually like squirming of like, oh, I hate this. I don't like this kill. This is too rough. It's too real. Something like this could happen. And that's why kids should not be allowed to have trampolines anymore.
Because
That's
of
my
the killer
new
hanging out underneath of the thing.
Yes, that's my new stance in 2025. We are eliminating all trampolines.
Ooh,
Someone could
controversial.
be under there to kill your kid. I have seen a video where like they had one of those like in-ground ones. So there's the big hole in the ground and then
Oh
the
yeah.
kid just like jumps over it and a fucking snake came out and the
Oh,
kid was like freaking out and I was like, yeah, I don't fuck with trampolines anymore. That's scary. That's insane. They can keep them for gymnastics and that's that.
um, I love this scene in the school. Like, it's so scream-ish. It's so tropey. Where the second I see couples of kids, peeling away, I'm like, oh yeah, we're not gonna see them again. Like either they're dead or they're gonna get kidnapped or something. And then we're gonna get this scene where she's running through in the best possible way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was just, oh yeah, it was great. Um, I'm trying to think the crazy dude, the older guy who was like in his late 30s who's throwing high school parties.
God.
I think
The
I
biggest
think
piece of shit.
Bacardi, was that his name?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh
Man.
no, I loved him. He was insane. McCarty.
Okay.
McCarty. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No, I love this dude. He was insane. Uh. God, this movie's so good. This movie was bonkers. It was like, oh yeah, you want some stuff? Here's a gun. Just
Right?
yeah,
He's just
selling
like,
guns to high school
thanks.
students.
I owe you. Yeah, just bring it back. Okay. That Russian dad that just like hauls ass up and is like, Yulia, car now. We're going to Florida. And everyone's just like, oh, okay. Like, Scuba's like, that's probably about as much of a conversation I've ever had with that man. Her death, man, oh man, her death.
Her death was wild.
Whew, 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 whew.
Um, Before we get to that, I have to talk about the security guard.
Okay.
When the security guard got killed, the way the killer like popped out of that side room was the smoothest thing I've ever seen. Cause it was like the perfect timing of the guy going upstairs, here's your food, the deputy turns around, and the second he turns around, that dude just slides out, boy. I'm talking smooth.
Right,
Whoop,
right.
pow. I was like, oh, this is great.
It was pretty good. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But this whole next scene, I didn't take notes for any of it. Usually I take notes on the fly. I had to pause it after everything was done because this blonde girl just got it was crazy. Corn holders in the ears and
Ugh,
then got slung on a fucking table saw.
ugh.
Um
And then
just
Scuba's over there literally just like, Jessica, what do I do? Like, that kid is in absolute shock
oh yeah.
of just like sitting there and he's like, what do I do with this bitch? Is she gonna make it? Like, no. And Jessica's over there having her own mental breakdown of like, what the fuck did I just watch? I can't imagine being in high school and like having to watch someone die like that. So those two actors played that scene so well because it's like, yeah, you wouldn't just be like 100% like sobbing of like, what do I have to do? I think you would be in absolute shock of just like you don't know what to do next. Like it's not just 100% like I'm so upset and distraught. It's I am mentally never gonna recover for this.
Yeah. Um oh man, I'm trying to figure out. Yo, yeah. Right after that, they're like, "Yes, let's go to the parade and let's all dress up." We just watched all of our friends get kidnapped and or murdered. So yeah, parade, cool. Let's do it. Absolutely.
I I don't understand how that town was just like, hey, we can cancel it. It's really okay. There's some crazy dude on the loose right now, and all of you freaking townspeople know it.
I think I think this is just horror movie logic. I
Oh, of
think that's
course.
really all it is. Where it's just like, oh yeah, no, sure, yeah, we'll absolutely do this.
I don't know.
Uh,
I feel like this definitely could continue to be like, because they're like, yeah, I mean, it's just only a few people. This is a big crowd of people. Stuff like that won't happen in a big crowd of people. Yeah, okay. And so then that's when you get a poor guy in a freaking turkey costume get his head decapitated, and two little girls have to watch their grandfather get fucking impaled in the face.
I
Whew,
laughed so hard.
man.
I could not believe that happened. And then like all the blood was going everywhere, and I'm just thinking like, what was it like for these two young actresses on set that day? Where they're
Right?
like, okay,
I
actually,
I can't even imagine. Just like having to pretend to be one of those kids and just be like, yeah, this didn't psychologically ruin me. I'm okay.
all right. Well, they were sisters. Let's see.
Oh,
Hold on. I'm
interesting.
pulling. pulling them up to see if uh I guess they've worked with Eli Roth before. So yeah, they've worked with Eli Roth before, so they were just like, oh yeah, cool. You want to be a part of this thing?
Yo, you want to bring those two girls back and traumatize them even more? Hell yeah, sir. You knew exactly what we needed.
Insanity.
Because I saw that clown running around and I was like, is there a clown running around? And then the next thing you know, he starts swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, no.
No
That's why my
notes.
mom's like afraid of clowns. And I'm like, you know what? It's fair.
um,
Oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, then they got like in the car, and then, all four of them get freaking tranquilized. And then we pop up to a nice basting of our turkey. And the
This scene
freaking
was so wild.
sound. Oh my god, the sound of him like rubbing the oil on her. I was like, ugh. And then he's over there just like, fresh cracked pepper. Here's some salt, parsley in the toes. Oh, that scene was wild.
Dude, I couldn't. I was sitting there thinking, like, I know she's gonna die, but I don't know if she's gonna get cooked in an oven. Okay,
Whew.
and and then like she's running around and we're following her. She's like sneaking around and stuff. And I was like, man, maybe she might get out of this. And then of course when she ended up in the oven and she was getting cooked, I was like, cool, that's the end of that. When she showed up in the next scene, cooked with the little white things on her feet, God, oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
cannot I cannot tell you, just when I think that this movie is not gonna surprise me anymore with just here's the thing. It's campy, but it's campy in just the right amount of ways
right?
to where it's not cringy. It's campy but not cringy. And like just chef's kiss on this whole entire movie, dude. Like I'm so excited they're making a sequel.
Yeah, they absolutely nailed like so much of like just that right walking of the line of like if we go too overboard with this, like it's gonna ruin the whole effect. We just got to do it this way. And they fucking nailed this shit. Oh my god. Yeah, no, Chris told me that the chick that got roasted in the oven, she did this whole like little stunt thing and she was apparently so excited for it. And I was like, I get that it's like a movie set, but I think that I would have like absolutely noped out because I was like, that's just giving me like anxiety to just like think about.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like screaming and then she's cooked. Can you just imagine you're waking up from like some crazy days, uh, see all your friends, see some dead people, you see your dad, and then you see your stepmom roasted on a fucking platter. Whew.
Dude,
How do you even how do you
I
even
don't
go
even
from
know how
that?
I even quantify that, dude. Like honestly,
The survivors, they need to be like locked in a psychiatric treatment for
oh
like
for sure.
so long before they can ever like try and go back to reality. That was fucked up.
It was yeah. And then they start breaking out. And did we ever get resolution? Yeah, I guess they said that they're all at the hospital.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. Um, and then like we go into the warehouse, I guess, and we find out that and as I am taking notes through this movie, I'm thinking to myself like, "Oh, I bet you it's this person. Oh, I bet you it's this person." And then at one point I was like as they were all escaping, from the John Carver house. I was like, oh man, I bet Bobby comes and saves the day because he's figured it out some kind of way, and he doesn't. And then the next scene, it's like, oh, it's Bobby like sneaking into the warehouse or whatever, and uh, and I was like, oh man, like I thought Bobby was gonna be the hero, and they were like, nope, it's Bobby. We shot him, and all this stuff. I never once pinged the sheriff to be the bad guy. Did you?
No, and I really enjoyed that. I really love that they just went with a completely different route. Fucking crazy sheriff that's over here like, you guys fucking, you're the reason that my mistress got killed and we were starting a family. Also, Chris definitely pointed it out. But that ultrasound of like what was to be a baby, it was very much a full baby. And that woman was very much not that pregnant.
Yeah,
But
you know
sure.
that's very true.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's kill a bunch of high school kids because that poor woman got scalped. And honestly, that's awful to watch.
Well,
Ugh.
well, and then he blows up. We get this great scene. He blows up, and do they find a body, Raven? Do they find a body?
That's sad. How'd he get out of this? You thought the
Uh,
musket was to the rescue. But alas, exploding turkey did not help.
hold on, I'm trying to see if Patrick Dempsey is a part of the next movie, and I don't see where he is. So we won't know for sure.
Oh my
But
god.
they're making a sequel with everyone who survived in this movie. So
Oh gosh.
yeah, oh yeah, so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next one. Because this one was so good. I hope the next one's just as good. I don't know. Chris, was like, well, we have to see if there's anything at the end of the movie. Because, that's such a thing now. Thanks to good old
Thanks to Marvel.
Disney and Marvel have definitely like really amped that up. But at the very end, there's just like that little scene where she was like printing out something from her dad's computer and she's just like, "Oh, got to go. Bye, daddy." And she like gives him a kiss on the cheek. And then the guy that plays the dad just like stands there for a few minutes and he slowly looks at the camera and then he just flips him off and then the movie just cuts. And
It
that
was
was the end of it.
it was such a great outtake
Yeah.
in this whole thing where you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And yeah, no, perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
This movie's great.
I definitely am going to start recommending that people watch this. I'm probably going to somehow see if my aunt and grandmother can watch it with us for like Thanksgiving because they love horror and this is so good. It's got the good tropes. It's not cringe as you said. It's perfect. Ah,
This movie
please.
this movie has only a 6.2 on IMDb.
How? They're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. This movie had so much better than that. Now I gotta look it up and be like, first of all, you little shits, you're wrong.
Mm.
Where is
Oh, okay.
it?
Let's move on. Let's move on to our next part of the podcast. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to like very quickly do research on the fly, and I should know better than to do that. Um,
Whoa.
let's move on to my favorite part of the week, the part where we talk about the things that have made us happy. Uh, Raven, it's been like 2 weeks. What has made you happy these past 2 weeks?
Well, last night after our whole little debacle with Boo at the vet, We were like, we had already planned to come home and we were going to put up our Christmas tree, which normally we wouldn't have it up this early. We'd probably put it up like probably the week of Thanksgiving, but we also understand that Chris's work schedule is so crazy. So we have put up some of our Christmas stuff. We got a nice little tree. We got little stockings hung. I have little bats that I hung up before Halloween that like fly over my little like TV, and it looks like they're carrying away some stockings. It's just a fun, good time. I'm really enjoying it, but the other half of my living room looks like Christmas just like threw up because there's bins of stuff that I have yet to actually put stare like anywhere. So I'm just like, oh, this is a little crazy. But yeah, that was a fun time, and I made homemade chili, and we watched. Oh, Chris watched Home Alone for the first time yesterday.
The first time?
Right? I know. He was like, because we were going to watch a Christmas movie while we decorated the tree. And he was like, okay. And I started to look on Disney Plus, and there were like three iconic Christmas movies. And he's like, I'm going to let you decide, but I've never seen that one. And I was like, okay, well, we did that. So yeah, even though it was like a stressful beginning of the day, we had a nice little end of the day. And I do actually enjoy seeing a nice, cute Christmas tree in my living room. So that's making me happy currently as we speak.
Cool.
How about you? What has made you happy?
Last week I was invited to a birthday party with a guy I work with. Um, he was turning 50 and he was like, yeah, I'm doing, my family's throwing me this big party and, want you to come. And it was an absolute blast. I got to hang out with a bunch of people. The food was incredible. Um, I drank, and that was fun. I didn't get drunk, got pretty close to it. Had a really good buzz going on, which is extremely rare for me nowadays. If you would have
Right.
known 22-year-old Mark, this was a completely different story. Uh, but the lady was pouring drinks very strong. I was like, "Hey, can I get a Crown and Coke?" And she poured me like a double shot of Crown, and basically just took the open can of Coke and just whiffed it by. Poured just enough in there to change the color. It was super strong. And at one point, someone I went there with was like, "Let's do shots," and I'm like, "Absolutely not." There's no way I'm going to be able to do shots. But it was an absolute blast. I had a great time, and yeah, it's good to hang out with people because I don't feel like I get to do that a lot anymore, especially new people. So yeah.
That's fair. Well, you know what? When we come up for Christmas, we'll just have you sleep over one night. The girls will be with Kelly, and we're going to do shots with your dad.
Oh
There's
Lord.
the good time. It's going to be great.
Well, cool. Now that I know you guys are coming up for Christmas, so I will absolutely earmark that time.
We're going to be off the whole week, so we're going to be up there.
Oh, cool. The whole week?
Yeah,
Oh, hot damn. Okay.
it'll be great.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Raven, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on the internets?
Hi, I am located on Instagram at That's So Raven Ellis. You can also find this cute little podcast, if you like it, on any social medias under Nerd for No Reason. That's us. You can find us mostly anywhere. What about you, Mark?
You can find me at Turtles Do It on all the major platforms except for Twitter because forget that place. I'm not there anymore. I still have the account or whatever, but I haven't logged on to Twitter in forever. So
I
yeah,
feel you. I feel
Blue
sad
Sky.
about it, but I deleted it off my phone for the
Yep.
first time. Dude, I've literally been a daily Twitter hog, like golfing that shit down since my freshman year of high school. And it makes me sad to be like, I can't do it anymore because it was too much lately.
Yep.
Rip to an era.
And I genuinely think that Facebook is going to be next. Like Facebook is just going to have to be one of those strictly
God.
computer things that you know um, that people are just going to be like, oh hey, you got the Facebooks and the and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, but you're going to have to wait till I get home to take care of it. So
Yeah, I deleted mine. I'm over it. I'm here for Reddit and Instagram.
yep,
Maybe at some point I'll get on Blue Skies, but right now I'm just vibing.
I
I got
can
too
dig it.
much stuff to do. You know,
Yep,
you especially got too much stuff to do. So I don't blame
dude.
you.
My busiest day this year, seriously, in the next month, my busiest day is going to be on my birthday.
Ugh.
And I hate it, but it's just something that's got to be done. Both the kids are going to be in a play. Amy's got to be in the parade. Yeah, and Kelly's going
Throw
to be
the
out of
whole
town,
day
so I get to
away.
do all
Jesus.
of that by
Good luck.
myself.
Good luck.
So,
Godspeed. I believe in you.
yep, thank you. So, all right, everybody, thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate it. Man, I don't know what we're going to do next week. Me and Raven are about to talk about that right now as soon as we sign off. But I personally, Mark, am already plotting plans and movies for next year. So just go ahead and get ready for that. I have some good ones on deck. So, yeah.
Woo-hoo.
But yeah, thanks again for listening. I love you guys. Go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go and just all the coolest, newest medias around, and we'll see you again next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Nice tits.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, aka Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.